Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to On the Couch Podcast. I'm your host, Nazario Pangallo. Today, I'm going to be talking about Week 13 in the NFL. But before that, don't forget to follow us on all our social medias, on Instagram at On the Couch Podcast 19, and on Twitter at _OTC Podcast _. All right, jumping into this week, I'm going to talk about first my most surprising game. Now, my most surprising result was probably the Steelers beating the Ravens or the Lions beating the Vikings. Why are these so surprising? Obviously, Lions, this is their first win of the season, so congratulations to them on that. But the Minnesota Vikings, this is just a heartbreaking loss, and a loss they could not afford to take. In the NFC playoffs, I believe they dropped to 5-7 from this game. They were right in the thick of the wild card previously. They were sitting right about, I believe, 7 going into this week, sitting at 5-6. If they could have won this game, they would have been tied for the 6th and 7th spot in the wild card. So this is just a performance that you can't have when you're a team that's trying to make the playoffs, and that's why people are saying, Mike Zimmer, what's going on? Now, Ravens-Steelers final was 20-19. Ravens went for 2 with 10 seconds left after scoring a touchdown, and the ball was barely incomplete out of Mark Andrews' hands. Some people question the decision-making of John Harbaugh. I am not questioning this decision. They were already having a ton of injuries, and his team was struggling to stop the Steelers in the second half. And they believed that if the Steelers got the ball in overtime, that they would not have been able to stop them. So this is a great decision. The decision was correct, and they had the 2-point conversion. They should have won this game. And T.J. Watt was just in the face of Lamar Jackson, just able to make that throw a little bit more difficult, and where he wasn't able to make a good enough ball for Mark Andrews to catch, because Mark Andrews was wide open. Now for the Ravens, just a terrible injury as Marlon Humphrey goes down, out for the season with a torn labrum, I believe. This is absolutely catastrophic for the Ravens. They have one of the worst passing defenses in the league this season because they're already without Marcus Peters, who is just a great corner and picks a lot of footballs off. The Ravens have struggled with causing turnovers and just stopping the passing game in general. Without Marlon Humphrey, the pass defense of this Ravens team is really, really going to struggle. They have 22 players on IR now. The fact that this team is 8-4 is quite remarkable, but I do not know what's going to happen these last couple of weeks. They have a very, very tough schedule to finish this season. They're one game above the Bengals right now, and they have, in their 5 remaining games, the Browns in Cleveland, the Packers at home, the Bengals in Cincinnati, at home to LA, and at home to the Steelers. If you think about it, Browns, last time they were able to stuff Nick Chubb. Now the Browns will be able to throw the ball a little bit more, though, without Marlon Humphrey. Then when they play the Packers, this is not a good matchup for the Ravens at all, as their secondary is depleted. Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, they should shred the Baltimore defense. And then Cincinnati, they already shredded this Baltimore defense one time. It should be even easier the second time. Then the LA Rams, man, I mean, they're just going to be able, Odell, Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson are about to have a field day. And then the Steelers offense is just really interesting, not quite like a deep ball offense passing the football, so they might not have as much success as the other teams that the Ravens play, but it's going to be very difficult for the Ravens in each of their next 5 football games. I would not be surprised if they are the underdog in every single one of these games. All right, so moving on from most surprising, I think the most impressing win this week has to be the LA Chargers. Now, why do I say this? The LA Chargers went into Cincinnati, and everyone in Cincinnati was telling me they are going to be just fine. They're going to be able to win this game very easily. And I said to them, watch out for the Chargers. And the Chargers went in to Cincinnati and won 41-22 behind the great play of Justin Herbert. He was 26-35, 317 yards, and 3 touchdown passes. Now, they were up 24-0, almost blew the lead, but the Bengals handed it right to them. It was 24-22, Bengals on their Chargers 47, I believe. And Joe Mixon basically just hands the ball to the defender. I mean, he was running, and he just fumbles it right into the defender's hand. He takes it for a touchdown, and the Bengals couldn't come back after that. Already early in this game, Jamar Chase had a really interesting play. He was open for a deep ball. He caught it. Then he juggled it, and he tips it right back to the defender for an interception. So the Bengals, this is a tough, just depleting, I wouldn't say depleting, but just really a bad loss and really an opportunity lost in this situation. They were able to win. They would have took control of the AFC North, tied with the Ravens. And with the last 5 games of the Ravens, as I was talking about, the Bengals will be in very good position to win the division. But the Chargers were able to come out with a victory and stay with the Chiefs in the AFC West, which that is my second most impressive game is the Chiefs. Why do I say this? They only won 22-9. That defense just keeps on impressing me and impressing me and impressing me even more. They absolutely just dominated the Broncos offense. The Broncos offense was not able to do anything. I believe they turned the ball over 4 times. And it's not like the Chiefs offense was being awesome like we expect them to be. They were not very good. I believe Patrick Mahomes had no touchdowns and a rushing touchdown and also a pick, only 184 yards. And Darrell Williams was the led them in receiving yards, which is really weird. So the fact that the Chiefs were able to win with only putting up 22, and it was actually only 15, I believe, that their offense put up as the defense had a pick 6. This defense is just playing so well that this really makes the Chiefs even scarier than when their offense was the best in the league, because this defense has been shutting down everyone they've been playing the past 5 games when they've gone on this winning streak. Now, I think the AFC is a very interesting division. We saw a weird game last night on Monday Night Football in Buffalo with those 35-mile-per-hour winds where it was just wonky. The Patriots only threw 3 passes and still won the game. But the Patriots really look like the team right now in the AFC. And I don't know if the Chiefs are being talked about enough because this defense is locking people up. That offense is still trying to find themselves. And they have 5 regular season games left to find themselves because this defense has really come into its own recently. Kansas City coming up. They're 8-4 right now. Patriots the 1 seed and 9-4. They got the Raiders at home. That should be a victory. Then big game, Chargers on the road on Thursday night. Huge game. Steelers, they should be able to win that game. Then the Bengals, a big game in Cincinnati. And then the Broncos. So they should be able to win at least 3 of those games, which should give them, at minimum to me, 11-6 record, which in the AFC, with how wacky it's been, that might be good enough to snag a 1 seed. I'm not sure. I think they need to win like 3 or 4 to get that 1 seed, but they got a great shot to get the 1 seed, and nobody wants to go to Kansas City in the playoffs. Ask everyone from the Titans in 2019. The Patriots did it in 2018, but it's very difficult to go through Kansas City. Heading on to the NFC side, the Cardinals are just the best teams throughout the regular season that I've seen in the NFC. It does not matter whether Kyler Murray's playing, whether DeAndre Hopkins playing, whether A.J. Green's playing, whether J.J. Watt's playing. This defense is amazing. This offense is very solid with a lot of weapons and a great head coach who has been tremendous in the NFL after not doing the best in college, but he has done tremendous with this Cardinal team. And they are 10-2 right now. Kyler Murray last week only 11 of 15, 123 yards and 2 touchdowns, but they were really running the football, and this team does a great job of running the football. They forced Andy Dalton to throw 4 interceptions. This defense just absolutely is amazing. I love the defense. They show up every single week. This team is 10-2. They are probably my favorite team to watch and to root for in the NFC. I would say my pick to still make the Super Bowl has to still be the Bucs. It just has to be. You can't tell me Tom Brady is going to lose until that final buzzer hits in the playoffs and it says that he lost. That would be the only time that I will say, okay, Tom Brady is not the favorite. Tom Brady is still the favorite. They're only they're a full game back of the Arizona Cardinals for home field advantage. But home field advantage doesn't seem to matter to these Bucs. They went and did it last year with that 3 road games to make the Super Bowl. They went into Washington, they went into New Orleans, and they went into Green Bay. If they have to do it again, they're perfectly fine with it. And Tom Brady's having an MVP season. So the Bucs to me are still the favorite. And right now, the Green Bay Packers have a great defense. They got Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. So that team can still make the Super Bowl to me. Dallas Cowboys, what I've seen out of them the past couple weeks, their offense has got some struggles. And that, to me, I don't know if they're a Super Bowl contender as much as they were earlier in this season. And the LA Rams, they finally got a win after not winning in November. If that team can get hot again, they have a load of talent, and they have a chance, of course, to make the Super Bowl. Now, let's talk about the MVP race for a couple seconds here. To me, I was looking at stats today earlier. Jonathan Taylor has 1,368 yards, leading the league by a huge margin, and 16 rushing touchdowns at the moment. 16 rushing touchdowns. I looked, the last non-quarterback to win MVP was Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson had 12 rushing touchdowns on 2,097 rushing yards. Jonathan Taylor already has more touchdowns with him. If he can somehow get to 2,000 yards in 5 games that they have remaining, I believe 4 games, sorry. If he can somehow get there, this dude should win MVP. I mean, this dude is an absolute beast. Leads the league in rushing, attempts, touchdowns. 7th in average with 5.6 yards per carry. That's still really, really good. And, receiving-wise, he's not a huge receiver, but it doesn't matter. I mean, he had 143 rushing yards on 32 attempts and 2 touchdowns versus the Titans. He's carrying this Colts offense right now. I mean, it's just insane to see how good this dude is. If he's not in the top 3 for MVP voting, if he keeps playing like this, the NFL should be ashamed of themselves, because if a dude playing this well, he's the most valuable player to the Colts. That is what the award is about. Most valuable player, not best quarterback. But if it is best quarterback, you got to give it to Tom Brady. My dude is flat out balling right now, leading the league in passing yards and passing touchdowns with 3,771 yards and 34 touchdown passes. He's the MVP, probably the favorite right now, and he's going for the back-to-back Super Bowl championships and going for his 8th ring. He does not care about that MVP. He could care less about that. He wants that Super Bowl. So I'm going to go to my top 5 power rankings right now. To me, at number 5, I'm going to rock with the Kansas City Chiefs. I've already talked about them, but they're definitely, I think, number 5 for me right now. Number 4, to me, has to be, I think it's got to be the Green Bay Packers right here. They could be higher, could be lower. They're a great team. And, I mean, they have Aaron Rodgers, so they're in every football game because of that dude. And that's all that needs to be said. But their defense, they need Jair back to make a huge run in the playoffs, because they're going to have struggles, I think, covering Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Gronk. That's a tough matchup for a team that already is without a cornerback. And we saw last year Kevin King got burnt versus the Bucs last year in the playoffs. If they don't have Jair, Kevin King's going to have to be guarding Mike Evans. So I don't know about that matchup. Number 3, the New England Patriots. Wouldn't it be lovely to see New England and Tampa Bay, Bill Belichick versus Tom Brady in the Super Bowl? To me, I would love to see this matchup. It would be awesome. I think the Bucs would come out on top. But Patriots defense, 6-game win streak. This team's on fire. And let's see who they have coming up. They got the Colts on Saturday night. They got a bye. Then the Colts on Saturday night. Big game. Then they will come right back with the Bills. If they can win these next 2 games, the number 1 seed is a lock, because then they get the Jags and the Dolphins, which at least they should be able to go 1-1 there. So that, to me, if they can win these next 2 games, lock for the 1 seed for the Patriots. Now, my number 1 team in the NFL right now has to be the Arizona Cardinals. They have played so well all season, 10-2, leading the NFC West 2 games above the Rams. They will get the Rams on Monday night. If they win that game, they will have basically clinched the NFC West. And then they get the Lions next, so that's an easy win. Then they get the Colts is a big game, Cowboys is a big game, and then they get the Seahawks. But if they win this game versus the Rams, NFC West is a lock and very close to locking up home field advantage. Going to Arizona, I don't know. It's hot down there. Players from North might not be used to it. We'll see. But that's it for this episode on the College Podcast. I'm your host, Star Pangallo. Thank you for tuning in.